Hello and welcome. Um, Here in my neck of the woods, it is pretty cold today, and it's actually freezing rain. As I sit down to do this video, I thought it seemed like a perfect morning to, while I'm having a cup of coffee, just to kind of chat a bit about why I read electronically. I've had some questions about that. And so I just thought I'd kind of go through it. I've been reading electronically now for quite a few years, and I really think that it originally started due to space. I had a limited amount of space. I was living in New York City, and it just was a very limited amount of space that I had to actually put books, and so I think that's when my electronic reading really took off. Was during that time, and I've just sort of it developed into a habit for me, and I've sort of kept it up ever since. Another thing is that for me, it's extremely convenient to take my Kindle, everywhere I go, because I actually have to travel quite a bit for work, and having the ability to just carry this as opposed to one or even two books is really convenient. What I used to find in the past is that I might even have to take like two big books in my backpack, or carry it in my luggage. And so whenever I'm trying to kind of get somewhere and get my work done and move around, sometimes I would find myself without something to read because maybe I finished unexpectedly. I was able to finish what I had taken, and then I had nothing to read basically. And so having this with me all the time, I really always have something to read, because I can either get something on the spur of the moment, or I can always go back and reread something that I have in my library, because on an electronic device like this, your entire library is there, present for you, and I'll show you that in a bit. The other thing that I've really gotten used to is being able to highlight like quotes and things that I like. I find it very convenient to highlight, and then what I can do is I can go and search those later, so I can find quotes if I thought something was very beautiful in the book, or I thought something was very pertinent or relevant. I can review those, and that sort of gives me an idea or it lets me actually re-engage with the book after I've finished it, even forever after I've finished it, if I wanted to look at it again. And then the other thing that I think is really cool about an electronic book is the dictionary, because a lot of times, especially reading, sometimes I'm not, not that. I mean, I think I have a pretty good vocabulary, but there's always words that I don't know, and I've gotten really into the habit of just being able to touch that word and a dictionary pop up. And then on the Voyage here on Voyager, I call it Voyager. The Kindle Voyage actually has the ability, it'll also give information like wiki. Sometimes if it's pertinent. So a lot of times when I'm reading, sometimes if I'm reading, do read a lot of nonfiction like history, and so like ancient place names or people. Sometimes that it'll give me more information about that. So it reduces the amount of times that I actually have to go to Google and look something up, because I can usually just do it at the touch of a finger. In the Voyager. I call my Voyage Voyager. So from here on out, I'm just going to say Voyager. I find that extremely handy. And when I reprint books now, I really actually miss that. And so, then another thing is, another really positive for me is always having books at hand. I mentioned this just a bit ago about when I'm traveling. It really changed the way that I buy books. So for example, if you've seen my channel, you see I have never done a book haul type of video, because I don't really do book hauls, because I don't buy books that way. What I do is if I come across a book that seems interesting to me, that I want to look into more later, if I'm kind of just on the fly, I might take a picture of the cover and look it up later. download a sample to it, keep the sample in my in my Kindle, in my device, and then when the time comes to actually when I'm going to read that book, that's when I purchase it. So I actually only purchase books right as I'm starting to read them. I have been known to purchase one book in advance, maybe because like if I am going to go on a trip, a travel, and I for this particular voyage, I did not get the the wireless. I just have the wireless. I just have the wireless. I just have the wireless app here, where it has to be online for me to be able to download new books to it. They do have that that cell phone kind of thing that you can get for an extra price. I decided not to do that this time. My previous Kindle, I did have that. It was useful, but I thought, well, I don't really need to pay the extra. I can actually just plan ahead enough to have a book ahead, or always be somewhere. There's usually I can find a hotspot or something to download something if I absolutely had to. So I just wanted to kind of run through. This is the why I chose the Voyage, the Kindle Voyage, as opposed to the Paperwhite or the Oasis for Kindle. And everyone, I'm not trying to say that my way is the best way. I don't know that I got the best device. I think I got the best device maybe for me. I think the Paperwhite would have worked for me well too. But I'll kind of chat a bit about why I did go ahead and get the Voyage. I just wanted to say, though, the previous Kindle that I've been reading off of for years that I love is actually this one, and it's just the bare bones cheapest Kindle device, and this actually still works. I chose to go ahead and upgrade. You can see it does have a little spot right there that doesn't go away, but it does. This book still works. This device still works fine. I've actually tried to give this away. If anybody wants this, just let me know. So far, I haven't had any takers, but it still works, pretty good. I didn't really have any problems with it. I just really decided to upgrade due to the lighting feature of the Voyage. So, the Voyage has, I went ahead and chose the Voyage as opposed to the Paperwhite, mainly because of that. There's 6 LEDs in the Voyage, and there's 4 in the Paperwhite. I think I would have probably done fine with the Paperwhite, but, because I do travel and I am reading in different environments where I don't always have a convenient light over my shoulder, so I am reading a lot of times in weird places like airplanes and buses and things like that. So I felt like that the Voyage was, the lighting in the Voyage was more adaptable, and so that's why I ultimately went with it. The Oasis is actually the Kindle Oasis is actually kind of the top of the line device reader. It wasn't an option for me because it has a leather cover and I'm vegan, so therefore I don't use leather products. But it has actually even better lighting than the Voyage. But the other thing about the Kindle Voyage is it has this page advance. See how I'm advancing the pages there? And then you can go backwards by clicking up here. And so you don't have to actually touch the screen. So that's why I decided to, those two reasons mainly are the reason why I decided to go ahead and go with the Voyage, because I just felt like that was more convenient for advancing pages. Because in this old Kindle of mine, to advance the page is just you have to touch the screen, and I think that's how Paperwhite is as well. But I think the Paperwhite's a great device too, probably, and there's other brands out there besides the Kindle that are probably work really well for people. So I'm just sort of giving my opinion about why I chose what I chose. I do like the Kindle products because I like being linked to Amazon. I do, find it cool that that my library is all available. I wanted to show it sort of on my app because what I have gotten, what people have told me sometimes is that they really like going and seeing their shelves of books and things like that. And I always say, well, I have a shelf of books. Here's my shelf of books. So I can go and see all of my books. If you can see that. I'm showing you on the iPad because it's got this nice feature that you can scroll like this on the iPad app. You can't really do this on the Kindle. My Kindle's not in color, so you don't see the information presented this way. But that's real cool to me. The way the notes are, I'll just show you real quick. I'll show you on the Voyage, so you can see here. I've made a note here of this of that. Right, you can sort of see it highlighted. I can actually go to my notes. And there they all are. There's everything that I have highlighted. You can see things that only you've highlighted. You can see things that other people who've read the book, who've shared theirs publicly. You can share your highlights publicly if you want to. And you can see what other people have found interesting and highlighted. You can also make notes. You can make like little notes. Like sometimes I'll make a note if I see something in a text that reminds me of another book or something. I'll stick a little note there, and then when I'm reviewing the book later, I can look at that and say, oh yeah, that reminds me. Because one thing I do like about reading. My reading style is to actually, I like to try to connect the works that I've read, even nonfiction to fiction and science fiction to literary, and back and forth. I just like making those kind of connections. That's kind of part of the fun to me of reading in general, and the reading electronically sort of makes that really easy for me. So I think I'll stop with that. That's sort of kind of why I like reading electronically. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to read. I think reading electronically is right. I think reading print books are right. I think listening to audiobooks are right. I think reading in groups is the right way to read. I think they're all the right way to read. So whatever way works for the individual, to me, is the right way. So I'll leave it at that. I hope maybe that you found that interesting somewhat. But I will have additional chats and whatnot coming up in the very near future. So take care. Bye.